Hi there, this is Mrs. Maxey speaking. This is a video for the Higher Applications of Maths course. It is all about Gantt charts. We're going to look at why we use Gantt charts, reading Gantt charts, and then we're also going to look at drawing Gantt charts. So here's an example of a Gantt chart. This is a Gantt chart that would be used kind of in business, in the real world. You can see that the black boxes represent the activities and how long each activity starts. You've got the activities up the side, and then at the bottom we can see that we've got the amount of days from the start. So starting at 0 over here and going up to day 20. In yellow, this gives us the float times. Now, in the Gantt charts that we draw, we're not going to draw float times because obviously we might not have, we're not looking at using multiple colour pencils. And you don't always see float times anyway. But Gantt charts show all the activities. So we've got activities A to J in this case, the start and end of each activity. So like I said, the black boxes, for example, in A, tells you starts at day 0 and finishes at the beginning of day 3. The duration of each activity, so how long it lasts for, in that case 2 days. Any overlaps between activities, float times that you can calculate easily, and here we've got the float times on the orange boxes, but even so you could see the float times by the gap between when an activity ends and the next one starts, and then the time scale of the whole project, which is the number right at the end of the scale. Here's an example of a type of Gantt chart that you would be expected to be able to complete. This is actually taken from a mock scheme, so this is an example that you guys would need to be able to complete in your exam. You can see that there isn't any shading for float times. However, if you look, for example, at this activity here, activity D, oh no, I'm sorry, I'm completely wrong. Let's look at activity J. There's nothing else happening. There's kind of a wee gap before the end of the next activity and before anything else starts. So that would have float time. Why do we use Gantt charts? They're really simple. There's not a lot of information, so you can read it really, really quickly and get kind of a real overview of what's happening in the project. It's also quick and easy to see how long it takes to complete different projects. Any activity overlaps are clear. Critical paths are fairly clear. They could be clearer, but you can still see them. You can see the length of the entire project really quickly, and then you can see float times too. However, Gantt charts do not indicate precedence order, so you can't see what order the task must be completed in from a Gantt chart. You need a network diagram or a PERT chart for that. So why do we use PERT charts? Going back to PERT charts in my other video that I've already shared, PERT charts are easy to identify the order of precedence, and that's the main kind of difference between the two of them. Although a Gantt chart gives you a really clear overview, it doesn't show you the order that we need to complete tasks in. A PERT chart also helps you to determine any float time, as well as identify critical activities in the critical path. It's also got the numbers in there as well, really clearly, so you know if I delay this by this much, what else am I delaying from your order of precedence. So reading Gantt charts now, we're going to have a wee practice. So state the critical path for this project. I can see that B's got slack time, so it's not critical. A goes from 0 to 15, and then 0 to 10, sorry. And then D starts at the beginning of 10 and goes to 20. And then F, 20 to 25. G goes from 25 to 35. And then H has got float time, it's got extra time, but I fills up that entire gap, and so does J. So the critical activity here would be A to D to F, G, I, and then J. And you're looking for activities where the next activity starts when it ends. Next question, state the duration of the float time for activity H. So activity H has got 3 boxes there. You can see that each box represents 5 minutes. That would be 15 minutes. If activity E was delayed by 1 minute, what impact would this have on the duration of the project? You can see that activity E has got 10 minutes of float time. So if you delay it by 1 minute, it's going to have absolutely no impact on the project. Oh, I've put 2 minutes, I mean 10. If activity F was delayed by 1 minute, what impact would this have on the duration of the project? I'm going to change that to 5 because I think I wrote these slides and then changed the scale. If activity F was delayed by 5 minutes, what impact would it have on the duration of the project? So let's look at activity F. Activity F is critical. So if we delayed that by 5 minutes, then it's going to delay the entire project by 5 minutes. Okay. So let's have a go at actual drawing a Gantt chart. So in an assessment or in an exam, you would get a precedence table that looks something like this. This example is about making Sunday dinner. As a Yorkshire woman, this is very close to my heart. So it gives you the different activities. It tells you how long each of them take and the preceding task, so what comes before it. You would then usually be asked to put that into a PERT chart. If you're not sure how to do that, please see my video on PERT charts. And you can then use the PERT chart to put that onto a Gantt chart. Now, my apologies, I'm going to continue to flick between pages because I couldn't fit it on the screen. It's so tiny. So first off on the Gantt chart, notice that we've got activities A to J. So up the side, I'm going to indicate activities A to J. The activity names are going to go in the middle of the boxes because I'm going to fill in each box. So A, B, C, D, E. And I'm going to label that as well. I'm going to label it saying that it's activities. Okay. Next up, I've got the length of the project. Now, the whole project I can see right at the end is 12. So I'm going to go up in twos, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I can go up in ones. Perfect. So we'll start with 0 here. 1, 2. And when you're doing the time, you need to make sure that you put in the times on the lines. Okay. Now, this didn't give me what the time was in, so I'm guessing, I've just realised that critical path doesn't actually match up with the example that I've given you. So my apologies there. We're doing a completely different PERT chart to the example that I told you it was for. My apologies. I'm getting this video out quick for my class, so I'm not going to go back and change it. This video is my mistake and it will just have to be out there for the rest of my life. But anyway, I'll stop wittering on now. This critical path here doesn't tell us what units the times are for the PERT chart. So I'm going to say that it's in, let's say it's in days. So you need to label that at the bottom, the time in days. Okay? So going back, and I can see that A starts at 0 and ends at 2 and it lasts for 2. Okay, so I'm going to colour in the first 2 boxes. Obviously, be careful with what you're using as your scale. Then activity B starts at 2 and it lasts for 2 days. However, it can go up to 10. So let's start that one. So activity B starts at 2 days and it lasts 2 days, but we know it'll go up to 10. Activity C starts at 2 days, lasts 2 days. So exactly the same. It is critical though. Activity, my apologies, give me a second to get this up. Oh, goodness me. Activity D starts at 4 and takes 3. So if we start at 4 for activity D and take 3, that'll take us up to 7. E is exactly the same, starts at day 4 and takes 3 days. Next one, activity F, it starts at 7 days and lasts for 4 days. So starting at 7 and lasting for 4. G starts at 7 days and lasts for 2. And lastly, H, no, not lastly, I've got I2. H starts at 7 and lasts 1. I've even done a J, and I didn't even need a J, did I? That's okay, we can manage with the space. We would try and fill that space in and not have that there, but oh well. Activity I starts at day 11 and lasts 1 day. And you can see there that our critical path is really clear because it's where an activity fills the whole space between activities. So if I highlight our critical path would be A because it fills the space. And then it looks like it could be B or C, but it's actually just C. And that's where a Gantt chart obviously doesn't show you what kind of order things go in because B actually goes all the way up to H. But our critical path next thing would be D. Again, it takes up all the time up to there, whereas E is that bit there for our critical path. And then it would be activity F, because that fills up the whole space. And finally, activity I. Okay. There are some exam questions on the OneNote. Please get in touch if you've got any questions, and I hope this video helps. Thanks very much. Bye.